Silverlight integration in DotNetNuke, and he does a great job of posting 3 modules for you to look and see how it's done. So adepthwebserver.com.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, this is where you want to go.
And both of those guys, well, Michael's not quite as quick to respond as John is if you email him with a question, but they will respond generally. Especially if you're asking about their passion.
Cool. He now has a section of his website dedicated to Silverlight.
Yeah.
That's new. Well, since
I've been there for a couple of weeks. At least.
I don't go to this every day.
You wish.
Yes, sir.
Actually, right after your session, saw me register. I actually registered for I'm probably your newest member.
What's your name?
I actually put Parlay Rag in there, username.
I haven't checked my email, so I'm sure it's in my email.
Well, actually, the question I had was, obviously your site sent me the verification email. Brian, in his first session, mentioned that you set up IIS and SMTP. Was that .NetNuke DNN that utilized that SMTP?
Yes.
Yes. A single SMTP for an entire install. Now,
That's another reason for having individual instances because of the SMTP issue.
we have problems with the OLEG site. Well, not problems, but we have limitations due to that. Because that's single SMTP for all the sites. Because what we've done is for the user group site, we're at orlando.dotnetnuke.ug.net. And basically the idea is we're trying to set up a network of DotNetNuke user groups, and we want them hopefully to all be in the same place, so we're all easy to get to. And one single SMTP server for everybody is not the best thing in the world. So
All it takes is one person getting a little crazy with emails and you're blacklisted.
yeah.
Right.
And that's easy to get done too, by the way. Easy.
Yeah.
One of my sites has been blacklisted. We didn't even do anything.
So basically, one instance, one server, one domain name. It's really not a big deal because it'll handle.
Now, you can have multiple instances on a server.
Yeah.
Well, for the emailing function, you should no big deal. No limitation.
No.
And that's
Well, what do you mean by no limitations?
unlimited.
I have something that once somebody hits enter, an email, a thanking email goes out
Oh, that's
to
not
the
a
person
problem.
that entered, and it also sends out to somebody else who's going to be helping them.
That's not a problem at all.
Anything you normally do in this.
And the email functionality built into .NET you can use in your module is very easy to use.
Yeah, what is it, the master phone? I forgot the name of it.
No, I'm not talking about the newsletter. I'm talking
Yeah,
about
the core
just,
code.
yeah, just to send an email. It's simple.
So one line code in some cases.
So that is an easy thing to do.
You know, it's kind of off the wall. Do you know if anyone's tried to run .NetNuke on Mono on a Linux box?
Yes, actually, they have.
Really successfully?
I don't know if they've done it successfully. I've heard people try.
How about I
Mono has a
have?
lot of limitations.
You
And
have?
how about it's not successful?
There you go.
That's not my question. Why?
Because then you can use it with Amazon Web Services and have a zillion instances and do as many as you want, do all kinds of crazy things with that.
Well, okay. Let's understand something about .NET, okay? .NET, as well as just about any major web application built on .NET, is going to consume a heck of a lot more resources than people that just do HTML sites. Okay? Understand, you are going to use resources. And that means you do have a limit of the number of instances you can put on a server from your hardware. Generally, the first thing I find that people run into is memory issues.
Yeah.
If you're running on a 32-bit server, you're gonna hit a wall with probably 100 or less sites, unless they're big, and it'll even go down fewer. I would not recommend on a 32-bit server to run more than 100 instances. However, that doesn't mean that you can't get more than that depending on how much traffic, how much is loaded, how many modules are loaded into each instance. You know, and once again, all of these affect what's going on. So if somebody creates a poorly written module that sucks memory and doesn't release it, then you're going to be sitting here recycling your app server all the time. So,
That brings me back to your question. With those concerns, whether it's the module leak in memory or it's just a memory thing because you have 100 more portals or whatever, if they're on the same app pool, all your sites go down.
So would you recommend a separate app pool for every instance?
no.
No, absolutely not.
No. Now, you may not want them all on the same one, but I would recommend one for every one of them. That's just way too much memory involved.
Yeah. Generally, DotNetNuke actually, like about 8 months ago, I think it was, something like that, maybe a year ago, they actually ran into a point in time where their site was coming down or just crawling, and it was due to app pool management because basically, and I think this is largely undocumented, but when you create a new app pool, whatever the amount of memory is that IIS is using, it evenly distributes that memory across all the app pools. So if you have 8 app pools, divide whatever that memory is by 8.
Huh.
That's how much each app pool has.
So the bottom line is no, but you do have much more memory being used than you would if you were running HTML site with Cold Fusion site. In fact, that was one of the complaints that I heard from people in the early years with DotNetNuke was that, hey, this takes up 50K of memory, you know. Now we don't even think that much about it, but when you start adding them up, it does make a difference. And when you have a lot of sites on one instance, it adds up too. It just comes in a different way. It comes more from cache in that instance.
Yeah, but when you get to that level, it's about enterprise
Well,
architecture to begin with.
You're talking about you need to make sure that your hardware and your system architecture is set up to handle the load you need to handle. And that's another nice thing about DotNetNuke is that you are capable of moving to web farm mode.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that's a wonderful feature that you don't normally have in things. You can move it to a web farm.
Easily. Built in. Easily.
I wouldn't say easily, but it's a whole lot easier.
1,000 times easier than we thought it would be.
Yes, it's a lot easier than most people would ever imagine, but it's still one of the things you need to do extremely carefully and, this type of thing. Yes, sir.
I remember in the previous version, there were an issue with the site staying alive if you had a site for about an hour being active.
Yes, and that, okay. The question is a very good question. What happens when nobody visits the site for 20 minutes and the app pool times out? Site goes down. The site shuts down. There's no question about that. There are some things you can do to stop that. There are programs that you can put installed that will keep it alive. The best thing you can do is generate more business. Have more people come to your site. I mean, let's get real. If you don't have anybody visiting your site in 20 minutes, something is wrong. If this is a business site, okay?
Not if it's locally oriented, because everyone's asleep at the same time, or middle of the night. Come on.
Okay, but at the same time, do you need it to be, up 100% of the time in the middle of the night? As far as, what you're talking about, what happens? The technical thing of what happens there is that when the application shuts down, the next time somebody goes to the website, the application has to start. It goes through and it has to load all those DLLs again. And that's what takes, that's what takes so long. There are things you can do to mitigate that, but the easiest thing to do is buy and keep alive.
What I had to do in the past.
No, you need to figure out the pool. It's you can set to any number of minutes.
Well, you can, but I wouldn't set it too big.
What I have to do is
I would. Before I would spend any money on a Keep Alive tool, I would tweak it to a number that we think is going to be used to
that's what I was going to say. There are services. There are sites.
I know. I'm just saying that you can control this.
You can control how long it lasts. The problem is, if you've got that level of
on
your host. Yeah. I was going to say, most people don't have that kind of access.
And especially if they're on a shared hosting.
If they're on a shared hosting environment, good luck. Yeah, it's
right,
okay.
Right.
But that's why I host my own. That's why I have my own server for my clients, so that I can do things like that.
Absolutely.
However, the issue with doing that to me